Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Professor podcast. My name is Scott, and in this episode, we're looking at the top players to target in Game Week 13, Sun Dream Team. It's a Premier League double game week. It's a big one. So, all Premier League teams will be playing twice this game week, opening up the player pool quite nicely. On Dream Team, there's always a quite heavy focus on the European sides, but each Premier League team plays twice this week. So, Prem double, 1:30 p.m. Deadline on a Saturday. And I think this week is going to be a popular booster week because of it being a Prem double and because there's some nice fixtures to target this game week. So I think my goal bonus could be active for this game week, and there will be a bit of a focus on that as we go through. Looking at options if you're just playing regular, no boosters this week, who would be the best options, but also if you are going for those goal scorers potentially on a goal bonus, what would be the best way to go for those? So fixture volume, it's pretty similar to the last episode. So 13 to 17 game weeks. This is on not only FPL. European teams and European teams that are in the Carabao Cup in particular have the most fixtures. So Crystal Palace have the most of any team. That's because their European matches gone a bit longer than the others. So 10 matches for Crystal Palace in this time frame. City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Chelsea are the teams that have European football and Carabao. So you get an extra fixture out of those. And then it's pretty much down to the rest. 8 fixtures for the European sides or teams that are in the Carabao Cup, and then 7 fixtures for everyone else. So player pool, like I said, is wider this game week with it being a Prem double. So we'll be covering a few more teams. But the teams I like the most this game week are Manchester City. So Leeds at home and Fulham away this week. I think this is going to be one of the key reasons why some people will be playing the goal bonus, because this fixture just looks too good for Erling Haaland. Leeds at home. Leeds have been really, really poor in general, but their away form has been poor this season. And obviously, despite a blank against Newcastle, Erling Haaland has been on top form this season. So I think this looks a really nice one to target for him. But also, if you're trying to load up on a few more Manchester City assets, I think this is a nice game week for Manchester City. After that, also, they've got Sunderland at home in the Prem, coupled with Real Madrid. So obviously, Real Madrid will be a tougher game, but Leeds and Sunderland both at home in your next 3 games, I think no-brainer to try and target that for City, even though they have had a bit of a dodgy week themselves. I like Aston Villa this week. So Wolves at home and Brighton away from home in game week 13. It does get tougher with Arsenal at home and Basel away. In game week 14, we saw again yesterday, they've been rotating quite a bit in Europe still. But I think this game week 13 in isolation does look pretty good. Crystal Palace, they've got the most fixtures. The fixtures are still pretty good, and they don't rotate at all. So they've been one of the teams that's on pretty much every single video. Man United at home and Burnley away this week looks okay. So Palace, there will be a focus on them as well. Liverpool is the tough one for everyone at the moment. So 3 losses in a row now for Liverpool, and the fixtures look good. And from a distance, this would have been a week you would have looked to start loading up on Liverpool players, but people have been putting it off. Maybe last week looked like it was going to be the one to go for it, but again, defeated twice, and now we're all getting cold feet ahead of West Ham away and Sunderland at home, which should be fixtures to target, but it's not looking good for Liverpool at the moment. So let me know what you think's going on at Liverpool. But still, fixtures look good. West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, and then Inter, followed by Brighton in game week 15. So we'll have a bit of a chat about them. You can get them for a lot cheaper this week than typically, but it's a real tough choice with Liverpool at the moment. Arsenal and Chelsea, I think, are both targetable just because they have decent players and are in decent form. But they play each other this week, which is quite off-putting. So Arsenal got Chelsea away, followed by Brentford at home. Just beat Bayern, though, in midweek, and they're looking really, really good. And then Chelsea themselves beating Barcelona this week and in really good form. They've got Arsenal at home and then Leeds away in the second fixture. So they're the teams that specifically I think have nice fixtures this week, but I am going to be covering most of the teams that are ticked on this ticker. But we'll go through to players to target. We'll go on to captaincy and boosters, and then we'll do my team update and transfer thoughts at the end. There'll be timestamps below so you can skip out. If you find anything useful, do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'm going to start off by looking at Manchester City. I think they're the best team to target this game week, surprisingly, as they've just come off of 2 defeats this game week. A 2-1 loss to Newcastle and a 2-0 loss to Leverkusen. Although nobody seems to really care too much about the Leverkusen loss because they did rotate basically the entire team. So that Leeds at home fixture, again, just looks really, really good to target. 2.62 projected goals and the highest wherever you look really at the moment. So full rest in Europe except for Nico Gonzalez. Erling Haaland, 7.9. I think he's in everybody's team at this point. But I think the main difference this week is, are you going to have Haaland on goal bonus, or are you just going to have Haaland normally? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, or the majority of people, are going to just be captaining Haaland regardless. But it was a blank against Newcastle, his 4th blank of the season in games where he started. So 19 goals, 1 assist for the season. I don't think many people are still going to be put off by the Newcastle performance. I still think he could have had a goal in that one. He could have still had a penalty to put in, well, if he scored it in that one. So no concerns over Haaland. And yeah, I think he's going to be the standout captain by far this game week with Leeds at home. But where he is so highly owned and where he is going to be so highly capped, I think who you pair with Haaland will be big for this game week. Whether you go for an extra attacker, if you go for an extra 2 attackers, I think both could be nice. This is where I think I have a little bit of a difference when I think about maybe goal bonus versus playing just regular without a booster this week. So Phil Foden, 5.2. He has had 3 blanks in a row since his 28-point game week where he scored a brace, and I think did he get an assist in the other one? 4 goals, 3 assists for the season. But the last few games been a little bit quiet. You could argue that he probably would have won the penalty if it was given for Haaland in that last game. But yeah, last couple of games fairly quiet. But 4 goals, 3 assists. He's 7th for bonus overall, so he's still doing okay for bonus. But I think I'd back him for goals over Doku still. These are going to be the 2 popular attackers, I think, to go alongside Haaland. They seem to be the sort of standout attackers in that Manchester City squad alongside Haaland. And I'm pretty sure they will start the Leeds game after this rest. So I like Foden on a goal bonus. I just feel like he is more of a goal threat than Doku. But Doku has 3 goals himself this season. He's 4.6, so you save a little bit of money. And I do think in general he is more steady with his points. Because of these bonus points, he's on 22 bonus, a little bit ahead of Phil Foden, although Foden is still getting bonus himself. But I just feel like with Doku, you know those points are going to flow quite steadily, whereas you see him with Foden that it can be blank, 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 mega haul. But I just think the pedigree for goals is kind of with Foden. So I'd be backing Foden for goal bonus. But I think as a general pick, Doku is really, really good still. And there's no reason why. I mean, on goal bonus, you can get an extra 3 points per goal. Doku could easily make that up with his bonus points. So I think there's not much to split them. I have looked at drafts, possibly having both. I've already got Foden, I've already got Haaland, and I have considered possibly going for a third and really going all in on this Leeds fixture. But if I'm going for one, it would be Foden for goals or Doku just in general. I think Nico O'Reilly at 3.1 is the other plan that I'm going to throw in the mix. He's been in and out of these videos this season because he had a little spell where he was rested, but he seems to be the main man now in that left-back position. 1 goal, 3 assists for the season. He's actually had 7 shots on target this season, which is just 2 less than Foden, who I'm saying is a really, really good goal threat. So O'Reilly, in his own right, is still getting plenty of sort of shooting opportunities, but he is down as a midfielder. He won't get those clean sheet points for you. 1 bench in 5 matches as well. And in that 1 match that he was benched, he played 45 minutes anyway. So I think at 3.1, if you are going for one player and you end up with like a small amount of money left to choose from, I think O'Reilly is still a decent enough pick. I've seen Nunes 4.5 in a lot of teams, and I'd stick with him if you've got him. I think this is a really, really nice fixture. Even though he didn't have the best game week this week, I think it would be silly to take him out ahead of Leeds. On to Liverpool. So game week 13, I think on paper they have the best fixtures with West Ham away and Sunderland at home. I know we keep downplaying Sunderland, but I still think on paper it's a nice game. And in game week 14, Leeds away from home. So again, Sunderland straight into Leeds. This looked like a period that you definitely would want to load up on Liverpool, but results haven't gone that way. 4-1 loss to PSV. 3-0 loss to Forest, following on from that 3-0 loss to Manchester City. That could happen to anyone, the City loss, but this week the results really have been shocking. So 3 losses in a row, and they've only scored 1 goal in these 3 matches as well, which is concerning. Or 1 goal, 1 goal in the last 3 matches. So that is a worry for Liverpool. You always associate them with being a goal threat. Maybe it is just unlucky, because I did see there's an XG page on Twitter or X that said they've had 6.59 XG in their last 3 matches versus 5.39 of their opposition, only scoring 1 goal themselves though. So maybe they've been a little bit unlucky going forward, but defensively they have been a shambles still. So Wirtz and Ekitike this week have picked up injuries, although it has been said by Slot there's a chance that they can return for the weekend. Mohamed Salah at 6.6 is the one that I thought I would be going into this game week with, but I am having major doubts, and at the moment he is not going to be in the team. He's had 1 goal in his last 5 games, which that 1 goal was really fortunate as well. That was the one that was put on a plate for him by Emi Martinez. But I do also think he's been fairly unlucky. So he's come away with 11 points this game week, which is not bad in 2 matches you've blanked. But he's taking corners still at times. He put one in that Virgil van Dijk hit the crossbar with. I think it was the week before he put one in that Van Dijk scored, and then it was disallowed. So that was fairly unlucky. I think there's a really big pen shout this week that probably would have been, or should have been given, and Salah probably would have scored the pen as well. So I think maybe he's been a little bit unlucky. But he's also started hitting bonus points in his last 5 games, which is kind of strange. So he has 8 bonus points for the season, and all of those bonus points have come in his last 5 matches. So I don't know if that's something tactical that's changed, but he seems to be doing better for all-round points while he's not actually getting goals and assists. 5 goals, 3 assists for the season, but they have dried up recently. So, yeah, personally, I don't think I'm going to be picking Salah for this game week. I did have a plan in place where I was intending to buy him, but I just don't know if I can do it at the moment. An alternative, Gakpo at 4.4. Now, he had been missing a few games with Wirtz playing, but obviously the Wirtz injury probably has helped for this game week. He had 2 90s this game week, 8 points in the game against PSV with an assist, so a rebounded shot out that was put back in. But I think it's less disruptive. If you did want to take a chance on Liverpool, paying 4.4 for Gakpo, it feels less disruptive for the whole team. And, if a 4.4 player doesn't quite cut it, it doesn't feel as bad as if you have a £6.6 million player there that you've got doubts over. So I don't mind the idea of Gakpo. I could get to him in 1 move, and potentially I'm considering doing João Pedro to Gakpo. But if Ekitike and Wirtz do come back, there is a chance that there is a bit of rotation there as well. So it's not perfect. It isn't perfect. But if I did want to get a bit of cover at the moment, I think Gakpo would be the one. Szoboszlai, I mean, if you're not on goal bonus, I think Szoboszlai is the best pick at the minute. He's 5th for overall points. He's overtaken Bukayo Saka for points, and he only cost you 4.8 million. 3 goals, 4 assists, so he is chipping in. Although, yeah, I did think the goal was rather lucky against PSV. That was the Gakpo shot that sort of was palmed straight out to Szoboszlai to put back in. But he has had a great season. He's had 16 shots on target this season as well. So that is more than Mohamed Salah, who's on 15. So Szoboszlai taking plenty of shots. 19 bonus points as well, puts him 6th for bonus. But the downside, he is on 4 yellow cards, which it doesn't feel great bringing a player that's 1 yellow card away from getting a suspension, especially in a Prem double. So if he was booked against West Ham, you would miss him for the Sunderland match. Crystal Palace. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on Palace because they're in every episode at the moment. So they did lose 2-1 to Strasbourg last night. They did beat Wolves 2-0 though at the weekend, which was good for those Palace defence assets. There's loads of them about at the minute. I've got 3. I've seen full blocks, and I've seen pretty much most teams have got Palace defenders at the minute. If you're not on Palace defence, I don't think it's too late. And if I was buying in new, I would say Munoz, but I have just said I won't pick someone with 4 yellow cards. I think I still would pick Munoz personally. I just think the ceiling is just so high that I'd do it. Especially, it is hard. It is hard because you know you'll get unlucky if you if you do it. But I still would go for Munoz this game week because I think in general having him in your team over the longer term, he'll pay you back even if he does end up missing one game. So 5.7 million. He's had a 19-point game week this week, a goal against Wolves, and then was just a tackle monster in this game against Strasbourg. I think it was 8 tackles in that game. So he's come away with a 6-pointer in a match where he's got no attack in return and they've conceded twice. So seems to be back to the Munoz of old. I got a little bit disappointing when the attack and returns seemed to dry up for a little while and the tackles seemed to dry up for a little while, but he's back. Munoz is back, and I would go for him this game week still, even though he has 4 yellows. Lacroix would be the other one that I'd go for at 4 million, so there's plenty to choose from, but I think Lacroix is the safest pick. There's been times where he has been outscored. I think he's played every minute still of every game for Crystal Palace. There's never a lineup that comes out where I'm wondering, is Lacroix going to play? He's just always there. Got his 3rd assist of the season against Wolves. He's had a goal already as well. It's just nailed. So I'd go for him at the moment because Richards, Gearhey all seem to be getting a little bit rotation, maybe struggling with a little bit of injury as well, where you know Lacroix, 4 million is fresh. Henderson at 3.8 as well. Obviously no clean sheet in the Strasbourg match, but still 4 saves, and then the clean sheet against Wolves. I just think he's a solid keeper, and he will play every game, probably except for the Carabao Cup game in game week 18, but loads of fixtures there as well for Palace. 10 fixtures in this next 5 game weeks. Sarr and Mateta. I'm seeing a lot of people getting impatient and wanting them out of their team. It's just that I think it's the nature of these two players. Where they're playing so many games, where they're playing every game, you're wanting a return from them pretty much every time you want them. But it's not going to happen, but it still is happening enough, I think. So Sarr 4.6, no goal or assist in his last 3 matches. He's coming close. He hit the post yesterday. He still has 7 goals, 15 shots on target, which I mentioned again is the same as Mohamed Salah this season. I also think a lot of people, if you play FPL and Dream Team, you hear a lot of FPL players saying how poor he's been because he's scoring his goals in the Carabao Cup, in the Europa League, Conference League. So you're constantly hearing that he's disappointing as well, which weighs into it. But I'm going to keep him in for my goal bonus. I think I probably will keep him in until I have to sell him for AFCON. But I get it. But I just think, look at these fixtures. Man United at home, Burnley away, Fulham, Shelbourne, City looks like probably the hardest one there. But there's so many fixtures. And again, you just know that he's going to play every single game. So I still like Sarr at 4.6. I think you should be a little bit more patient with him. Mateta at 4.5. Now, this one is more frustrating because he's not getting the minutes. So 60 minutes and 62 minutes this game week. But he's still got an assist against Strasbourg, 7-point assist. He's on 6 goals, 3 assists, and he is on pens. He's a frustrating holder, I will admit it, but his last game come 5 games ago. He's hardly been completely blanking. He's had a pen miss in that time and 3 assists in his last 5 games, so it's not like he's not coming close. So I still like Mateta and Sarr. I'd keep them both for this game week personally. Jeremy Pino at 3.4. Got his 3rd assist against Wolves, 2 goals, 3 assists for the season. I think he's a decent enabler still. Aston Villa, they are on the comeback. It's actually surprising. I think this team has gone under the radar a little bit. So it's 4 wins on the bounce now for Aston Villa. They've won 10 of their last 12 games. Really, really good form for them at the minute. And I'm liking Morgan Rogers at 4.7. So it's not so much recency bias. I mean, there's a great big 17-pointer there against Leeds this week. So he scored 2 goals in that one. But this season, I've been kind of like looking at the fixtures, looking at this upcoming run, thinking about going for him. But his price felt like it never really changed this season. I think he was in at like 5 million and he had quite a spell of blanks earlier in the season. You can see there quite a few 3-pointers and his price just wasn't really dropping down from 5 million. He did drop this week eventually down to 4.7. I think this was a good week to really go for him. But yeah, Leeds at home. Sorry, Leeds away from home. He scored the first goal, which was a decent enough finish, but the free kick as well in that game come away with a 17 pointer there, and he's still starting in Europe as well. 8 points, only 60 minutes in that game, but grabbed an assist. I think he could have had another assist as well for one that was disallowed. So I think he's looking a good pick for this game week. Wolves at home looks a nice fixture to target. Brighton away as well. Brighton do give up chances. 14 more difficult. Arsenal at home, and then Basel away. Maybe you keep him for that because you know that he still probably starts too, or maybe you sell him. He doesn't have the Carabao Cup, which is a bit of a downside, but again, it's West Ham away in game week 15. So that's the nice thing about Rodgers is you know that he is probably going to start these European matches and doesn't rotate like some of the other players. Matty Cash, 3.8. Oh, sorry, back on Rodgers. The goals haven't been flying in for him, so he's only on, I think it's 3 goals now for the season, 4 assists, but he has had 12 shots on target as well. I like him. I like him, and he's someone that I am considering bringing into my team for this game week and just targeting that Wolves fixture mostly. Cash and Conser, 3.8 million, 4.4 million, annoyingly rested in Europe. Matty Cash, I bought in this week. I planned to bring him in for a while, and he was flagged with a sort of international break injury. I still brought him in. He did go on to play the first match, but didn't do great, but was benched for the European game. I knew it was going to be a bit of a risk. I wanted to get that price rise. And I did think that he was a good player to have in my team for this goal bonus anyway, because I needed to go for someone a little bit cheaper. I think he's a fine hold. I think he is going to start both of these Prem games, but yeah, as we've seen, he isn't starting in the European matches. It is Lindelof. So that is a frustrating one. And if by game week 14 you wanted to sell him, I can't blame you for that one. And I may even consider doing it myself this week. Consa 4.4. He was also rested in Europe. He isn't rested as much as Matty Cash when it comes to European matches. But again, I think now he's had that rest, he will start the double game week. So Cash and Conser are still fine holds for this game week. But maybe longer term, game week 14, you might want to consider moving them. Marlon at 2.7. I don't think I can bring myself to bring Marlon in. But this was one of the first times that I kind of watched him this game week and thought, do you know what? That with the way Watkins is playing, maybe there is actually a chance that he ends up taking his spot, or Watkins is taken out for a little while. Watkins was rested for the Europa League, and Marlon started. He's got 2 goals in this one. I think he could have had one that was disallowed as well. 60 minutes subbed off. Is he being saved now for the Prem? Being rested for the Prem? His minutes have always been the real problem, Marlon. But 2 goals, 1 assist this game week. 4 goals, 1 assist in his last 4 matches. So I don't know what else you can do really with the striker in the team not firing, and this guy coming on and sort of saving the day in a lot of games. I think he's earned his spot. So I think Marlon 2.7. I wouldn't normally say it, but if you are really struggling for an option around that price point, I don't hate it. I think there might be a chance that he starts in the Prem. On to my team, Arsenal. So I was at the Bayern game in midweek. Great one to watch that. Yeah, nice to have a game that's usually a painful one kind of wiped clean. And now that we actually look like we are ready to compete in these fixtures. And so no clean sheet in 3 games now for Arsenal. So the defence has been maybe not as solid as before. Maybe you could say that was down to Gabriel this game week. But I think it might also be down to just the fixtures. That Sunderland away one was pretty tough. Derby against Spurs, although I don't know if you can really call it a derby. It was a kind of freak great goal from Richarlison. And we didn't even give up too much against Bayern Munich either. But Gabriel was out. The Arsenal defence does seem to be not as solid as it has been. I don't think the next two fixtures do look great for clean sheets. Chelsea away, Brentford at home. You wouldn't be surprised if the Brentford game is a clean sheet. But then game week 14, Aston Villa away and Club Brugge away as well. There could be rotation for that second one. So I don't think defensive players are a massive target. A lot of us have already got them in our team. But the attack does look nice still. I think Saka 6.7, 6 goals, 1 assist. He's in my team currently, and I still would buy him. I know the price is getting quite high, but he's looking so, so dangerous still. 19 shots on target puts him third overall for shots on target. I know there have been people sort of outshining him this game week, but I still think he would be a priority buy from Arsenal for me personally. So Saka, decent option. First assist of the season, which is a surprise too, but 6 goals to go with it. Eze stole the show this week at 4.9 million. So I think there would have been a lot of people that were disappointed by this one. You've either owned him at some point, or if you were unlucky enough to take him out before this one, I don't think he had looked that dangerous when it comes to scoring. I think the North London derby hat-trick was a big surprise, but yeah, he did look back to sort of Crystal Palace as in that game, acting like the main man. I think the games before it, I felt like he was being a little bit polite, maybe being a bit of a squad player. It reminded me a little bit of how Grealish joined Manchester City and he went from being sort of the big fish to a cog in a machine. I felt Eze had sort of gone a little bit that way. But the North London derby, he just turned it on completely. So 3 goals in that one. And then the assist against Bayern to give him a 35-point week in the end for Eze. 35-point game week with a 6-pointer against Bayern for a really nice cross over the top to Martinelli. And then 29-pointer against Spurs. It's ridiculous. So fair play if you had Eze in your team. He's on 5 goals, 5 assists now for the season. I don't hate it if you want to buy him, but yeah, he was more quiet in the Bayern game. Understandably, it was a much tougher game, but I don't think we're going to see him sort of scoring hat-tricks in every match. His goal threat is there, but Odegaard is also now on the bench and available as a substitution. So maybe Odegaard comes back in the team eventually and Eze has to sort of move his spot. But at the moment, I think he's unplayable and he's going to keep, I think he's going to keep Odegaard out of the team until Odegaard is fully fit and firing. And then there's going to have to be a decision who makes way if we're going to play with both Eze and Odegaard. I think Timber, 5 million. This is an interesting one. So I'd planned up until the Bayern game to take Timber out of my team this game week. I thought he would be the guy that I'd sort of lose to free up some funds to throw money into this goal bonus, get some more attackers. But he's had an assist against Spurs, which I think I could have lived with. But then watching that Bayern game live and watching corners come in and the way he attacks these corners, he's kind of taken that threat from Gabriel and looks like the most likely to get on the end of these corners. So a really nice goal for him from a corner. 15 points this game week. And he's now on 3 goals, 3 assists for the season. And I'm looking at some of the players that I'd consider bringing in for Timber, and they're only on sort of 4 or 5 goals themselves. So is it worth just having Timber still having that Arsenal defensive coverage? Declan Rice, he's been steady still. Another 5 points. It's one of the best games I think I've seen him play against Bayern Munich, but wouldn't be one for a goal bonus in my opinion. But again, I don't mind if you just want to get him in and let him tick along because he's playing that well. 2 little punts I do like from Arsenal. Marino at 3.9. So the reason I'm kind of liking him at the moment is because that price point does fit quite nicely into my team if there's a certain player that I do want to go for. He's on 3 goals, 2 assists. I didn't really expect that he'd be still in the team after the international break, but it looks like Gyökeres, I'm still not ready to return. So we'll have to wait and see what Arteta says on Gyökeres this week, but haven't seen him in any sort of training photos or anything like that yet. So Marino, still an option and probably does start as a striker for the next 2 games. And then Madueke, 3.3 million. Now, only got his first goal of the season for Arsenal as a sub in that Bayern match. So he is just freshly back from injury, but 3.3 million is a really cheap price. And if you thought, Eze scoring against his old club with Crystal Palace was obvious, well, what about if Madueke ends up starting against Chelsea? Could he get a goal in that one? Yeah, so I do think he is going to rotate with Martinelli. So Martinelli was back and scored a goal himself. Trossard has had that left wing position nailed down, but did look like he went off with a bit of a nasty injury against Bayern. So I think it's probably going to be Madueke and Martinelli sort of sharing minutes on that left-hand side. So 3.3 million, it is a punt, but for the price point, I don't hate it. I would wait for more information on Hincapié and Mosquera. Hincapié started the North London derby, but Mosquera started Bayern. 3.8 and 3.5. There's every chance that they just play one game each alongside Saliba. Calafiori, I took him out this game week with I thought he was only going to play the North London derby and be a sub in the Bayern match, which did happen. Of course, he came off the bench and got an assist against Bayern Munich right in front of me as well. I do now think there is a possibility that he could actually play the Prem double. The way the Prem is sort of the priority at the minute, wouldn't be surprised if he starts Chelsea and Brentford, and then maybe Skelly gets Club Brugge in game week 14. But yeah, Skelly struggled a little bit in the Bayern game, which also makes me think that maybe Calafiori gets both the Prem games, but it's not certain. There is a chance that he will still only play once. Chelsea, tricky double this week, obviously, with Arsenal in there and Leeds. You want the Leeds game. The Leeds game is the one that you want to target. But we know Maresca can rotate a fair bit, but they're doing really well in the Premier League. And yeah, maybe they don't want to risk it too much if they do have a chance of fighting it out for the title. 4 clean sheets in the last 5 matches for Chelsea. So looking solid at the back. Enzo Fernandez, though, at 4.6, I think is still going to be the best player to target. He's had at least 1 shot on target in each of his last 8 starts for Chelsea. So doing really well for shots on target, 7th overall for that. 5 goals, 3 assists for the season. And just right up there on all the sort of expected goal involvement metrics. And, well, actually scoring and assisting as well with 5 goals, 3 assists. So I think Enzo, really, really good pick. I know if Palmer comes back, he will lose the pens, and it sounds like Palmer is pretty close, but yeah, he's having plenty of shots anyway without that. So I think Enzo 4.6, still solid option. I'm probably going to sell João Pedro this week. 76 minutes in the Prem, and I did not play in midweek. I can't handle. Maybe I can handle a start with good minutes and some minutes off the bench, but I did not play. An early sub is just too frustrating for me. He's got 4 goals, 3 assists for the season. I would want this Leeds game, but I can't guarantee that he's even going to get the Leeds game. I feel like he could just start Arsenal, then be benched for Leeds, and I'd be disappointed with that. So I think I'm going to sell João Pedro this week. Defensively, I've just said they've kept 4 clean sheets in the last 5. The 2 that I would go for, Cucurella and Chalobah. I don't think it's a great thing to bring them in ahead of Arsenal, but if they do get Leeds, it'd be okay. And I think these 2 are the safest for longer term starts and minutes. There is always a chance with Maresca there will be rotation eventually. But 4.7 for Cucurella. No goals this season, but he was flying for goals last season. He's still got 2 assists and he's still getting really attacking positions. So I think those goals will come for Cucurella. And then Chalobah, 3.9 million. Nice price. 2 goals, 1 assist. Looks a threat from corners. Does okay from bonus. So either of these 2 look all right, but I would question if it's necessarily the best week to do it. But you get a price rise from it. Neto at 4.2. Don't mind that. 4th goal against Burnley. 4th goal of the season, along with 2 assists. Playing centre forward as well against Barcelona. And then Esteval. He's looking class. 4 million, 5 goals, 3 assists. It was a did not play against Burnley, and then he played against Barcelona. So again, minutes aren't completely secured, but I'm starting to think he's got to have broke into this first team or be breaking into this first team fairly soon with these performances. I think he is going to be the real deal. If you look at this Arsenal fixture and the Leeds fixture, again, you want to get Leeds. I think there's a good chance that he doesn't play Arsenal or gets a sub appearance against Arsenal and then starts the Leeds game. So I think that's not a bad way to try and target it. And I think you could end up with some of the more favourable looking fixtures if you do go for him. Specifically, maybe the Carabao Cup game in game week 15. So I don't hate it, but again, 4 million is quite a lot for someone that you don't think is going to start twice a week. Newcastle, Harvey Barnes is getting a lot of attention at 4.3 million. So we've got a brace against Manchester City, a goal against Marseille, 27-point game week. He's now had 4 goals, 1 assist in his last 5 matches. So if there is a man that's on form and firing and someone that maybe you want to just consider for your team normally, but especially for goal bonus, I think he's on it. I think he is on it. 7 goals, 2 assists for the season and 13 shots on target. So Harvey Barnes could be a decent pick. Gordon did come back for the Champions League and got an assist in his first start back from injury. But there's no way Barnes is losing his place in this team. I think there's always still a chance that minutes get managed and it could be like 260 appearances or something like that. But I think Barnes is going to stay in this team for the time being while he's on this kind of form. So I don't mind Harvey Barnes, and this looks like a decent enough fixture. Everton away obviously is fairly tough, but then Spurs are leaking goals, and Newcastle have won their last 4 home games against Spurs, scoring 14 goals. So if you're one that's sort of for the historical performances, this looks like a decent enough game. Anthony Gordon, I still wouldn't pick him. I don't know if he's going to be ready to sort of start 2 games, but he is the pen taker when he is available. I think I'd just opt for Barnes at the minute. Nottingham Forest, 5 matches unbeaten, so back-to-back clean sheets this game week against Liverpool and Malmo. Dyche is rotating a little bit in Europe, but it seems like the centre-backs are getting away with it there, so we're going to come on to them in a minute. But Morgan Gibbs-White was someone that I quite like the look of for this week, but he was missing from the Malmo squad. Apparently has an injury, but it's not serious. But I think if you've got an injury this week, I think you have to dodge it. I don't think you want to be taking risks with potentially injured players in a booster game week, especially because you can't make a substitution if you've activated a booster. So yeah, I'd avoid that for now. Elliot Anderson, 4.3 million, got his 3rd assist of the season against Liverpool, following on from his goal where he scored a penalty in a game recently. So back-to-back returns for him. Possible depends. Maybe he keeps them if Morgan Gibbs-White doesn't want to take it after missing his last one, or Igor Jesus is off the pitch. But I don't think we can be certain that Elliot Anderson is going to be keeping these pens. But bonus point potential, tackle potential, Anderson, solid longer-term pick. Nico Williams had a 17-point haul against Liverpool, so it's 11 tackles in that match, bonus points, clean sheet, assist. But again, carries that 4 yellow card risk. So don't love it. I don't love it. I know I said that I'd probably have Munoz on 4 yellows. Probably would be put off going to Bosley with 4 yellows. I wouldn't do it if you've got another player that's on 4 yellows in your team at the moment. But he is tempting because he has been so consistent this season. Didn't play or didn't start in the Europa League, but he's still projected to get that 0.3 rise. So yeah, if you get Williams in nice and early, he will be a nice long-term pick, but there is always a chance that he gets that suspension. Milenkovic and Murillo, these two, I think I probably would opt for over Williams just because of this 4 yellow thing. Williams is by far the better pick. I'm going to put that out now, but for this game week, maybe if you're on a goal bonus and you want to get the price rise from Milenkovic or Murillo, they got double clean sheets this week, and both have been getting attacking returns. So both scored this game week. Murillo against Liverpool, Milenkovic last night in the Europa League. And Milenkovic also got an assist in the game yesterday as well. So I think both of them are going to get 0.3 rises. And I remember Milenkovic having really good goal threat last season, 5 goals last season. So maybe under Dyche, he's going to get back to that sort of goal scoring form. So I don't mind either of these two if you're looking for a cheaper enabler. The fixtures look all right. Brighton at home, Wolves away, Everton, FC Utrecht in the Europa League, followed by Spurs, Fulham and City. So I think up until that City game, Dyche, solid defence. I think they're all right. Spurs, I don't want to spend too much time on Spurs. They have been pretty shocking lately. So 4-1 loss to Arsenal, 5-3 loss to PSG. They did look a little bit better against PSG, but there's still problems there. Richarlison 2.8, he's had 3 consecutive goals, 6 goals, 2 assists. But I mean, you have got Marlon there as well at a similar price point if you are struggling. Paulinho is probably the only one that I think is a decent enough pick from Spurs at the minute. 4 goals, 3 assists, but again, not convinced that's going to continue. But 63 tackles this season puts him top, and he's almost on. Well, he's on 3.6 tackles per game, so almost starting on 4 points when you include the appearance points and tackles. But yeah, it's not for me at the moment. On to United. So Brian Mbeumo was getting a lot of attention going into this game week. He's had nice single game weeks. He's been on decent form. And this looks like a nice double for them. Crystal Palace away and West Ham at home. 6 goals, 1 assist, 16 shots on target and takes corners. I think he's a strong pick, but I just don't trust United at the minute. They couldn't get the job done against 10-man Everton at the start of the week. And they're up against Palace, who I've got 3 defenders from. And then West Ham at home in the second picture, it does look better. I do think he is a decent pick, but I don't know if I want to. Spend 5.9 on a team that aren't particularly reliable. I do trust the player. I just don't know if I trust the team completely. I don't mind it as a 12th man option if you did want to avoid the drop after the blank this week and then not keep him for 14. Although 14 is Wolves away from home, so it's not the worst fixture. But he's a good pick, but I'm not going to be picking him. Bournemouth, Semenyo 4.6, another one that I thought would be on my team for this goal bonus, but obviously has been missing with injury. Reports are he is back training, but I don't think you can take the punt. I don't think if you're playing a booster, you can take the punt. If you're taking the risk on it normally and he doesn't end up starting, you can obviously sub him out for someone else and it's a double. There'll be choices, but I don't think you want to do it if it's a booster game week, unless the manager really does come out and say he's 100% starting. You've got my word, which I don't trust managers at all anymore, but I don't think you can do it. But he looked like a nice pick on goal bonus, but I'm going to have to pass. Tavernier at 2.8. Again, if you are looking for something around that sort of price point, I don't hate it. Sunderland away from home, Everton at home. He did take the pen with Semenyo being unavailable. He is on corners, gets strong minutes. I don't think he will keep pens if Semenyo does come back, but 3 goals, 1 assist for the season. Not bad for the price. And Evan Nilsson's also at that same price point, 2.8 million. He back from injury, 2 shots on target, 90 minutes in the Premier League game at the weekend. So, yeah, I think it's okay, but only 1 goal, 2 assists for the season so far, so not amazing. Brentford, Thiago has been the main man, 4.2 million. He's got a great first fixture against Burnley, but then away at Arsenal in the second. But it's 10 goals this season. He's second only to Haaland, 18 shots on target. He has scored 4 penalties, but there's a few open play goals in there as well. No double game week in game week 14, but it's a leaky Spurs in game week 14. And then there is Carabao Cup in game week 15, but again, that is away to Manchester City. But that Manchester City team could be a heavily rotated Manchester City team. So I don't mind Igor Thiago, but I am a little bit put off by the away fixture against Arsenal. But you do think that he definitely will start 2 of these. I've got the graphic up on screen from not only FPL, and there are a lot of high scoring matches there. He is a player in form. He is a player that's got pens. I don't mind this one. But I don't know if it's worth the double game week if one of the fixtures is Arsenal away. Maybe that's my bias. They have played well against some big teams this season, but he is under consideration. Brighton, Danny Welbeck, 3.3 million, 7 goals, 1 assist for the season. He's joint third for the most goals. He's got Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa this week. But I did check back. I did wonder, can Danny Welbeck play twice or start twice in the doubles? He hasn't done it so far this season, and I do have my doubts. So I don't think I'll be going for Danny Welbeck. He is on pens. He is in good goal scoring form. But it's that double game week, 2 starts. Will he get him? I'm not convinced. Diego Gomez at 3 million. He's also on 7 goals. He's got 13 shots this season, but his returns have been a bit more all in one go. So he had the 4 goals against Barnsley and the brace against Leeds. But again, it doesn't seem terrible at 3 million if you did just want to take a punt on it. Captaincy and boosters this week. So I think Haaland is the standout captain with 19 goals, 1 assist this season. He's got Leeds at home in the first fixture. I just think it's the standout obvious way to go. Looking at Liverpool's fixtures, they would be the sort of competing one, but who do you choose? There's just no one reliable there at the minute. So Salah cap would definitely be off the table for me. Arsenal, Saka, maybe. Eze, maybe. But then you've got the Chelsea away fixture, which I don't think is going to be high scoring. And then it's just the Brentford at home fixture. So I still think City's are much, much better fixtures. So goal bonus this week. So mine is going to be in play, but I'm not completely confident in it, I must say. I think Haaland being in top form and having great fixtures makes it standout captaincy, but I don't think there's too many other players that are sort of screaming goals at the moment. So it is still a little bit of a risk. I don't feel 100% certain on it. But the appeal of maybe multiple City players or the fixtures falling okay for Arsenal and Palace and them already being in your team and not having to disrupt things too much, I think it works for my team. But again, I don't think it's a certain. I don't think it's a must play in this game week. Game week 17 looks like a next nearest opportunity. There's a lot of nice home doubles for some of the bigger teams. But I think City's fixtures are definitely worse. Again, with Haaland, we know he's in form. We know the fixtures there. You don't know what could happen in the future. So that is a bit of a risk. But maybe if you wait a bit longer, you might see Liverpool come into some form. They've got probably the best fixtures in Game Week 17. And you may see some other players like a Palmer or an Isak come into form by then. So I like it. I'm going to play it, but I don't feel 100% confident in it. I have seen people ask about Max Captain this week. I don't really see the appeal in it. I'm trying to think through it how it could be. So if you think Haaland is the standout captain and is going to smash it this game week, I can't see why you would play Max Captain, because if it does end up landing on him, not only have you kind of wasted your booster because you're just going to get Haaland as your captain, but it's kind of going to be a double whammy as well. You're just going to get Haaland as your captain. You've kind of wasted your booster, but then a lot of people probably are going to goal bonus and then get extra points for him over you. So it's not just you've got the same captain, you've kind of lost out still. But if you do have other good options in there and you do think this week there could be a big swing because so many people are going to go for Haaland, then that would be the way it works out. But just a reminder that Max Captain, the armband moves to the player with the most points in your team. You don't get more points than you usually would for your captain, because I have seen a few messages that sound like that might be what you thought. 12th man, I think there's plenty of solid options that are named in this video. Salah maybe as a one-off, an extra City player, maybe like a Foden if you couldn't afford him, or a Brian and Bumo if you didn't want to take the drop or you wanted him out the week after. But there will be plenty of opportunities later on to play this one. On to my team update then for game week 12. So I had a green arrow this week from 4.2k up to 3.6k with 111 points. I did actually think this was amongst some of the sort of cash leagues and stuff I'm in, this actually wasn't one of the better looking scores. I think I was outscored by quite a few players that had sort of an Enzo Fernandez in their team, a few more clean sheets. But again, green arrow, slowly getting there. And my points actually got me a -3 over the players that I took out. So I took out Calafiori, who of course managed to get an attacking return off the bench. I brought in Matty Cash, who got 4 points versus Calafiori's 10. And I took out Malik Chow, who got 6 points versus Mateta's 9. I would have kept Calafiori, but I had to downgrade him if I wanted Mateta, and I definitely wanted Mateta to prepare me for a potential goal bonus. So Henderson with 10, Lacroix with 14, and Munoz with a massive 19 points from my Palace guys. Timber with 15, and Matty Cash with 4. Like I said, I was considering taking Timber out, but it's harder to do when he's just hit a 15-pointer this week and is looking very, very dangerous. Phil Foden, disappointing with 4. Saar with 8, which, again, in games where he's not getting attacking returns, 8 points is still pretty steady. Bonus points against Strasbourg and just 1 shot on target against Wolves. Bukayo Saka, 15-pointer. 4-1 against Spurs in the North London derby. No attacking return was a little bit disappointing, but still come away with 6 points. And then 68 minutes against Bayern, get the assist. Shot on target, some bonus points too. I think he's a solid pick still, so Saka won't be going anywhere. Haaland was my captain. I just didn't think it was worth going against him this game week. It hasn't paid off. If you did go different, you ended up with a decent return this week, I think. But I think Haaland was still the standout captain this week and will be for the upcoming game week. João Pedro, 1-pointer. So subbed early, yellow card in the first game and it did not play. You need to get out my team now, Pedro. And then Mateta, 9. I'll be keeping him for the longer term. So here are my thoughts. At the minute, so I've got 2 transfers. My team is up to 55.8 in team value. Like I said, I plan to activate the goal bonus booster this game week. I'm not fully set on it, but looking at my team now, I like Haaland. I think he's got the best fixture and is the standout captain, and it's probably his best fixture double for a while. Mateta, I still trust him. I still think these are nice fixtures, Man United and Burnley. Saka, Chelsea, Brentford, I think are fine. Saar, Man United, Burnley, I think is fine. And Foden, Leeds, Fulham. I like having that double City for that Leeds fixture. And him and Haaland are both rested going into that one. So I think my front 6 bar Pedro looks decent for it. I've got Munoz, who's had 3 goals himself this season. I've got Timber, who's had 3 goals himself this season. So I like both of these. Lacroix, Henderson, both solid. And then Matty Cash is a poor week, but I still brought him in because he has some attacking threat. But if I'm taking out João Pedro this week, I probably will end up taking out another player to try and get some more attack in there. But it might have to be Matty Cash. So I'd originally planned to sell Pedro and Timber, which gave me 9.6 million, which gave me loads of options, loads of strong options. I could have gone Salah plus a £3 million player. But I just don't think I can sell Timber now. I just think if I do take him out this week, I am going to panic and want him back. Arsenal defence is highly owned. They're the best defence in the league. I think it's going to set me back if I do it. And I just don't think it's particularly worth it. So I think I'm going to look to keep Munoz and Timber. Both got decent attacking threat themselves. So I could either just take out João Pedro in my team and replace him with a £4.6 million player. Or I can take out a Cash or Lacroix. Obviously, Matty Cash, I think he is going to start both the Prem games this week. But in the longer term, is he going to be starting the European games? It doesn't look likely. Whereas I know Lacroix, for example, he just starts every single game. So if I take out Matty Cash and Pedro, I've got 8.4 to work with. Or if I just take out João Pedro and roll, I've got 4.6 to work with. I don't love the idea of rolling a transfer if I am playing goal bonus. I do think you want to kind of squeeze that last bit of value out. But some options that I have looked at is Morgan Rogers at 4.7 as my Pedro replacement. But in that situation, I do have to make a second transfer because I'm 0.1 short of affording Pedro to Rogers. So it'd be Rogers and a £3.7 million player. I have got Doku, who I can get to in one. I like the idea of having triple City attack maybe for this Leeds fixture. Again, all three of them were arrested for Leeds. And I think Doku is a fine longer term hold as well in my team. I can afford Eze in a 3.5. I don't think I'll be going for Eze. I just think it's probably a little bit reactionary. I had him in my team earlier in the season. I wasn't particularly happy with him, so I do want to see how he goes in a bit of the longer term. Harvey Barnes on a 4.1 is quite a nice pairing there, but again, I do think there will be sort of reduced minutes at some points with them having quite a few wingers, so I think I prefer Rogers and Doku at the minute out of those midfielders. If I was to go for an attacker, it could be a Pedro to Cody Gakpo at 4.4 million. Now, I can do that in one move and not make the second transfer, or I could do Matty Cash to a £4 million player, which is an option. And then Thiago, 4.2 plus a 4.2. But I like the idea that you can get pens. I like the idea of the first fixture. I'm not sure if I want him in my team longer term, and I don't like the Arsenal fixture. So that one's not perfect. Salah and a £1.8 million player, which I don't think I see myself doing this one. But if I was to do it, it would maybe be Salah and God, yeah, there's not much choice, but it probably would be like Krejci or someone from Wolves who has got attacking threat from defence. But is it worth sort of killing a spot in your team to squeeze Salah in at the moment? I'm not convinced personally. And then you're probably going to end up wanting to keep Salah for Leeds after, possibly, which means you're going to struggle to upgrade. Krejci, I don't know if it's just going to set the team back. Welbeck 3.3 plus a 5.1 would allow me to get like a Rodgers and a Welbeck, but again, I don't think Welbeck's probably going to start 2 matches this game week. So at the moment, I'm probably going to look at trying to get Rodgers and a 3.7, Doku and a 3.8, maybe just making the Gakpo or Thiago moves in sort of one move, but I kind of want Rodgers at the moment, or kind of want the triple City. It's still Friday. I still got a bit of time to think on it, and I haven't quite decided yet, but that is the sort of direction I'm heading. The goal bonus will be in play. I'm just deciding on a Pedro replacement, and if I do make the second transfer or roll it. As always, drop your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.